Waiters of Reddit, this is going horribly, dates have you witnessed? Not a waiter, but at the grocery store I worked at, we had a small dining area by the deli. 99.9% of the time, it was only ever used by people coming in on their breaks, mostly construction workers and other retail folks. Well, one time I was put on deli duty during lunch, and this guy comes in and sits at one of the tables. Mind you, we were not a full-service deli. If you wanted food, you had to order it at the counter and pick it up at the register. We did not serve or do anything table side. A few minutes later, this woman comes in and sits across from him. She looked truly bewildered, a testament to his unique capacity for social awkwardness. So I'm just taking care of stuff at the deli when I hear snapping fingers. I look up and this guy is snapping his fingers at me and is like, "Finally, can we get some menus?" I just look at him and gesture to the case in front of me and tell him that what he sees is what we have. And he looks at the lady as if his male prerogative had just been openly challenged, then stands up and points at me and called me a truth teller, though he meant it as an insult. I simply tell him that we are not a full-service deli, so he will need to order from the case, and I will ring him up at the register. The woman at this point is very red. I remember distinctly she was a redhead, and her face matched her hair. He marched with indignation over to the case. I didn't feel threatened. It's a deli case, which meant there was plenty of barrier between him and I, plus it was like 5 feet tall, so he wasn't gonna be jumping over it. He indicates with force his finger at the case and starts loudly telling me what he wants. And I am just following along, scooping and cutting and such. Then he turns around and goes, "Hey babe, what do you want?" And she just looks at him mortified and says, "I don't even know your name, why are you calling me babe?" I'm trying to keep a neutral face and just waiting for the next order. And he just shrugs and turns back to me and tells me to make her a sandwich. Once again, this is a grocery store deli. We did not make sandwiches, and I told him as much. And he just goes off saying I have the bread. No, I didn't, the bakery did, which was on the opposite end of the store, the meat, the cheese, and the condiments. I just lean around and look at the woman and ask her if she actually wants anything. She says she doesn't and picks up her purse. He notices this and immediately runs back to the table. The speed at which he did it made me toggle the switch on the phone by the register, which sent out a bagger needed at register 20. Register 20 was code for the deli, and we didn't have baggers. It was the code for security. Luckily, he didn't touch her. He was just experiencing great distress. But she just gets up and hightails it away through produce to the exit, and he starts to follow. But our security guy came around the corner and I pointed to the dude, so he stopped him and delayed him long enough for the lady to get clear of the store. Then he just moved abruptly out. She came back to the store like a month or two later and came through my checkout lane. Asked if I remembered here, I said yes. I guess this guy was a total sweetheart at the office they worked at down the highway a ways. So she accepted the request for a lunch date, but didn't know he was gonna do it at a grocery store deli. She figured the address he gave her was wrong and was just as amazed that he was actually there. And of course didn't know how much of an utterly insufferable exemplar of modern self-absorption he was. Turns out afterwards, he pursued her persistently at work so much she eventually complained, and he was fired.